Hi. Okay, so I want to talk about one more thing, and that is self-trust. And sometimes our lack of self-trust really can be born from that mental restriction. Um, and that lack of self-trust is just because you don't have a new way of thinking yet. You have been on this hamster wheel of gaining and losing weight. You've been on diets, but no diet ever teaches you about the mindset work that needs to happen to have long-term success. And so that's why you just kind of stay on the hamster wheel. So how do we start trusting ourselves again? We have to start thinking like a new person. And so I hope that the tools from this week, you've identified with some of them and know some steps to take to start those tiny little mindset shifts that can help you start thinking like the new you instead of thinking like the old you. Because we've been training our brains to think like that old us forever. And so that's all it has to go on. And so this is why we struggle, because we just kind of stay stuck in this old kind of thinking. So today's a new opportunity to start thinking like the new us, the us that can trust ourselves. So how do we start to trust ourselves again? A couple of ways, as you saw mentioned in the post. One is to start stacking up, laying the foundation brick by brick on all the small successes. You know, so many times we focus so much on the one thing that we weren't necessarily successful on that week, that we overlook the myriad of things that we were successful in doing. So by stacking up successes, I'm talking about all those tiny little things that we do really well every day that we don't give ourselves credit for. If we can start just stacking those up little by little, that trust starts to build because we see, okay, I'm believing in myself a little bit more every day. And we can trust ourselves to make the best decisions most of the time. And we can trust ourselves to handle the consequences when maybe we don't make the best decision. And this leads me to the second thing that we can do to start trusting ourselves. And that's just to start experimenting and exposing ourselves in situations that push us out of our comfort zone a little bit. Now, this doesn't mean, go to the donut factory and see if you can go through the donut factory without eating 12 donuts or without eating any donuts. I don't mean anything like that. I just mean in these very simple ways, just experimenting and exposing ourselves to give ourselves opportunity to learn that we can trust ourselves. Now, are we gonna be 100% successful every time we experiment with this? No, because that's just human nature. And that's okay. But what I want you to take away, and what I hope that you have learned this week, is that all of these tools, it has helped raise our level of self-awareness, and it helps us approach ourselves with compassion. So when we're experimenting, we're exposing ourselves to these situations that kind of stretch us beyond what we may be a little comfortable with as far as being able to trust ourselves. And it doesn't turn out exactly like we wish that it would have. Now we have the opportunity to reflect on that with compassion, not with judgment, because that's not helpful, but we can reflect on it with compassion and talk to ourselves about what was really going on and how might we better handle it, manage it, think about it the next time. So these are two simple tools that you can use to start building that trust back in yourself. because to have long-term success, you have to believe in yourself, and you have to know that you've got your back, that you can trust yourself to make the decisions that are appropriate for your health and wellness. So I hope that that helps. Stay tuned. I've got one more video as we wrap things up. And this has been so much fun. So thanks for coming along for the ride, and I will see you again in just a few.